We're live.
Whore. I
How could
told
you
you
say
exactly
that to
what.
me? How could you say that to me? To me personally? Oh my
No,
god.
no. I am invoking the tone of this book because Apollo is a stupid whore. Affectionate.
He is. He really is. He really is. Oh my god. Bisexual king, bisexual disaster, uh whore. Like,
By the
okay.
way, hey everyone, this is Luck powering on.
We started off so hot with this. Oh my god. The tone of this is already insane.
Alright,
Trials of
I think the
Apollo, book
first thing
1,
I.
Hidden Oracle.
Yeah. I think the first thing I really want to say about this is Apollo is a great POV character because he constantly switches from self-aggrandizing to self-deprecating
Oh, it's
to
like
then
instant.
moments of to then moments of like I kind of want to get with that person.
Oh, it's into he's pathetic. He's pathetic. He has an ego the size of Manhattan. He is the most self-depreciating, self-hating guy you've ever met. He does affirmations in the mirror. He can't help but want to fuck almost everyone he lays eyes on, including Percy's mom. He is just
Literally, it is the spirit of the author who nerfed him from trying to riz people, specifically Percy's mom.
it is
Because we will get into it later, but he started off with like, damn, Percy's mom's got it going on. And then I was just like, oh, and then my teenage brain that I was infected with started to say, like, you know what, mate? She's a cool mom. That's what she is.
sure, Apollo, sure. I
Riordan was just thinking how weird it would be if Apollo was still thinking about trying to bang.
no, I this book I was looking forward to this one a lot, right? I am quite the fan of Apollo. I'd never read these books though before. I was a fan of him based off of what we'd seen in the earlier books and what I had heard secondhand about these ones. And so I was highly anticipating this series. I've been counting the days since we'd get to it, almost as we started this whole book club, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely. She's been
so
bugging me about it.
oh yeah. So when we finally came across it, I was so happy. I was so happy when our list finally made it there. And I was honestly genuinely not disappointed. Um now the plot of this book, right? A lot of the plot is like relatively
BK do
self-explanatory.
crimes.
Apollo, after the events of Heroes of Olympus, has had the majority of the basically Zeus was like, it's all your fault, Apollo. Some of it justified, some of it not, but either way he's decided to punish him by sending him down to Earth, by forcing him to be completely human, barely even a
Again.
demigod sometimes, though it slides back and forth depending on the situation. And yeah, he is well, the thing is, this book is in many ways a prologue to a longer story. They don't even make it out of the camp for a quest in this one, right? He comes across this young demigod child by the name of Meg, who has some pretty mysterious circumstances surrounding her, and makes it to camp and has to basically figure out what he's even supposed to do. And Roman emperors are involved. The is ancient hidden oracle. Um,
Ray
Lots and
is
lots
just
of things.
great.
Yeah. This one maybe defies a strict plot summary because this very much feels like chapter 1 to a larger story. This is all about just developing the characters, getting all the scenarios set up for the rest of the books to begin to uh execute on, right? We don't even
Yeah,
really
I'll
know
be
our
honest.
adventuring party until like almost the last chapter.
I'll be honest. If I was a part of the age demographic, I think this would probably be up there with one of my favorite books.
Oh yeah.
Just because I know my taste back then. I most certainly would have been like, yo, I love how they're like fleshing out the camp. You could like envision yourself there a bit more with detail now. Because a lot of the other books didn't exactly talk too much about camp.
This one in many ways
It,
is the best of the late game books. It's short and to the point, but it also has, yeah, plenty of character, plenty of personality. Um And yeah, Apollo, as we've been alluding to here, is genuinely really lovable as a protagonist. I was warned actually that Apollo starts off being kind of a dick and very unlikable because of that. But honestly, even though yes, he is kind of a dick, I found him to be incredibly likable and incredibly charming, and I think a lot of that is the ways that they balance being genuinely critical of him against the ways that he is actually just a pretty nice guy with a pretty strong moral fiber at the end of the day.
Shockingly so.
Yeah.
In a weird way, it didn't feel like he had to do a lot of learning a new lesson. It kind of felt more like he had to accept a lesson he kind of already knew.
Shifting the perspective was the lesson. The trials are now just
Yeah.
the icing on the cake. It's the framing for this. It's what's gonna put him through the fucking ringer so we the audience, you know.
Through
Yeah.
the ringer.
No. No. I mean kinda. I mean if if his POV is to be believed and sometimes it's not, but in this case I trust him. He's been at the mercy of Zeus's lightning bolts a few times.
Oh,
Um
absolutely.
Yeah, this is also
Oh,
since
there's like so much parental trauma.
this is maybe the most invested that this series has been in actually depicting like
Zeus.
yeah abuse since like Lightning Thief,
Yeah.
right? Not since Lightning Thief has this book actually taken this much time. Like if anything, it seemed like over the books, Riordan was trying to soften the depictions of the gods a lot of the times, like trying to make them seem less the shit parents that they're presented as initially, giving them a lot of grace, having the kids kind of give them leeway for story reasons for this or that. And even in the series,
Yeah,
like
things
way,
either
way scaling
explained as
back a lot of things.
yeah, because like oftentimes things have been like explained away as misconception or it wasn't really that bad in this context,
Mm-hmm.
or oh no, it's just outright not true. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
rumor.
In this case, there is quite a lot of implied child abuse, and it
Implied.
implied that they don't show it, implied that they don't show it.
I can live with that.
You know, it mentioned, discussed, implied, um, and specifically through the characters of Meg and Apollo, this is pretty thoroughly explained. In fact, in a way that was quite clever. At one point, they use a bit of a plot device that may seem lazy until the book really starts to get into it, and you kind of realize that no, this was actually kind of genius the way they presented it. Um, but I feel like that's about as much prelude as we can get before we should just maybe dive into the actual book
Get into it.
itself. Yeah. So
Chapter 1, Pathetic Bitch.
yeah. Each chapter is headed with a bad haiku, right? Apollo likes haikus, but he is really bad at them. I
Not
presume because
skill.
Riordan is not skilled with poetry, and so he just decides to lean into it as basically a character trait.
Yeah, if you want like a diegetic reason, no, it's probably because haiku was separate or developed separate from Apollo's sphere of influence, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why he can't pick it up easy.
Mm-hmm. And like Apollo, immediately you understand two things about his POV. One, this is very much baby's first unreliable narrator, which at first annoyed me, but then I had to remind myself that this is a book for literal children.
Maybe.
They can't make it too not obvious that he's lying, or else the literal children might get confused, right? So, and two, he is the most pathetic man you've ever come across, like just constantly complaining and crying and throwing up and pissing himself, and again and again cycle repeats itself. Like this is a quote I pulled. This is my first pull quote. How could you, a mere mortal, possibly understand? Imagine being stripped of your clothes, then blasted with a fire hose in front of a laughing crowd. Imagine feeling helpless, ashamed, completely vulnerable, publicly and brutally stripped of everything that makes you, you. My humiliation was worse than that. This is him in reference to being turned mortal. So, there's a lot to unpack there. There's so much
Oh,
to
so
unpack.
much.
There's oh so much to unpack. especially being his bad habit of prioritizing his own feelings above the feelings of others. Talking a lot, but like really plainly about how it's like, and most of it's played for laughs of him being like, like, why can't we focus on the important things? Me, why can't we focus on my needs first? This is why people should arrange their lives around my needs.
Drop
I'm
everything and
literally
focus
quoting.
on me. He is such a dramatic bitch. I love him.
It's like you open up this book, right? He falls into a dumpster. He has 5 different existential crises, gets the shit beaten out of him, and meanwhile his internal monologue is, I'm the greatest person ever, I'm the coolest, bestest, most handsomest person ever. It's
No,
insane.
no, he gets the shit beat out of him by like 2 teens, like just snot-nosed kids.
And it's like not pretty either. He like gets his nose broken, like
I think
covered
they
in
start
garlic, he
like kicking him
smells.
on the ground when he's in the
Yeah.
fetal position.
He's crying immediately.
He's literally like, "Oh, the god Apollo!" And they're like, "Shut the fuck up,
It's
dumbass bitch."
also one of those things, and I assume this is maybe something that Riordan is also thinking of here, which is that okay, so I think there's a reason why in a lot of his other books, his other protagonists don't get punished to quite the same extent that Apollo does, because Apollo is put through the ringer in a way that a lot of his others aren't, right? Like and I think it's because of Apollo being a god, right? He is an adult that has been put into a child's body, and while you are definitely supposed to understand him as both a grown man and a child at the same time, you can easily switch from one to the other depending on the situation mentally, right? Which means that when he gets the shit beaten out of him because he was being an arrogant little bastard, you don't feel that bad for him, right? The same thing happens to
Mm.
Magnus, and it's like the saddest thing that you've ever seen. Happens to Apollo, it's mostly just funny. And a lot of that is because just having a character that's not a child.
Yeah, and plus he like kind of had it coming to him because
Oh, he
Apollo the
usually
god
does.
has
Yeah, oh, he
done
generally does.
quite a bit.
He's done quite a bit, and he will fully admit a lot of this stuff, and sorting through some of his sins becomes an important part of this book, and will
Plot
be an
point.
important plot point for the rest of the series from what I understand too. But this book, he's focusing particularly on his sins against Hyacinthus and Daphne, where
Also,
yeah.
yes, his past lovers are brought up in the most dramatic and angsty of ways because we are dealing with Apollo as the narrator.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Actually, that angst was actually genuine too. It wasn't just him being dramatic. You actually do feel the tragedy there, but there's also
True, I
from the
mainly
beginning
bring
some
up
disconnect
him
for
being a
sure.
dramatic. Yeah, I mainly bring it up because in the beginning, I personally think he's been a little dramatic about it because he's like, no, the pain is too much to bring up. And then when you actually see it brought up, like, oh, okay,
Like, oh, that is
maybe
actually
he
pretty
had a point.
painful. That is actually pretty painful.
Yeah, yeah, I think he had a point there, actually. He's not
Yeah,
being
yeah.
arrogant again.
If you don't know the stories, right? Daphne, Eros was pissed off with Apollo, strikes Apollo with one of his arrows, and then strikes Daphne with the lead arrow, making him fall in love with her, and her fall in hate with him, basically. Apollo starts chasing her, chasing her, chasing her, until she begs to be turned into a tree, and she does so, and essentially dies. Um, and he, in her honor, he
I
makes
mean,
the
technically,
laurel
trees live
wreath.
for 100 years.
She loses all ability of consciousness, is the idea. um Hyacinthus, those two were actually lovers. It wasn't just him chasing after him kind of situation. um Apollo gets the god, a god of the wind, Zephyros, gets jealous over them. Apollo maybe does some boastful shit. It's not gone into
And
that much
then
detail about it, but
Zephyros is like, Lamel, bitch, you thought.
yeah, so Zephyros kills Hyacinthus, and by like blowing the wind particularly hard when they're doing like a discus game with each other, causing Hyacinthus to get struck in the head and dying. And Apollo as a character is one that, if you can see him basically in real time through this book, begin to slowly accept his own place within those tragedies, not just being a victim, which I'll even see some fans of his try and like disregard his
Victimized.
blame in there, because he does hold blame for those situations. He
Yeah,
absolutely
because like
does.
again, this is getting a bit into the book a bit much, so Lily, feel free to stop me if you want.
Hmm.
But like at the beginning, he definitely says like, "I am the victim in this. These bad things happened to me." Whereas towards the end, he was like, "It was my arrogance that caused Zephyros to do this. That is on me. I
Yeah,
pushed things.
the
It is my arrogance and relentless pursuit that pushed Daphne to more drastic action when
mhm.
I could have let her go."
The idea is that um Apollo starts off the book having been blamed for a laundry list of things, some of which he did do, some of which he did not. But he is not willing to take accountability for any of it, is the idea, right? Like, one, yes, he did definitely, like, he did definitely contribute to Octavian going mad there, in the same way that he seemed to have contributed to all the emperors that we're going to dig in. That was definitely a very conscious parallel. Um, same way that he contributed to all of them get going mad with power. He was
Yeah,
he escaped to Delos when what he should have done is, he should have been aware that Python would return, and that it would have caused issues with the Oracle of Delphi. But of course, the whole thing with Gaia, it wasn't that all of it was his fault. It was just that he failed to do some things where he should have. He needs to learn some amount of responsibility. So the book then has to play a bit of a balancing act here again, where it's like, okay, where does the personal responsibility begin and end? And where does Zeus's being a dick begin and end? That's the
and how
key.
much of that
Yeah.
Loki probably formed Apollo as who he is.
A lot from what we've seen, because it seems like, and later on it's even discussed that, like, Apollo was, for many reasons, both for the more obvious emotional ones as well as for the, Zeus is king of the gods reasons, was not allowed to place blame on Zeus for the things that he did. Right? He was not allowed to hold him accountable for things. So I think it created a bad sort of example where he was constantly deferring blame, even in situations where he actually very much was the victim.
I think the best way to kind of sum up the story of Apollo is you need to trudge through three different layers of things,
Yeah.
two different layers of things, in order to really get to the root of it.
Anyway, that's chapter 1. No, obviously we're all over the place with this because we have a lot of things to say.
Of course, of course.
Okay, so
Chapter 1, he gets beat the fuck up. Chapter 2, a little girl has to save him.
yeah, so we have a 12-year-old, kind of
Feral child.
feral child who's quite sad, at least from our perspective. I don't know about you. I clocked it immediately that she was far, far too excited just at the thought of getting some decent food. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be really sad, isn't it?
I kind of
Um,
was thinking like, oh yeah, Riordan, how badly are you going to make the homelessness plot line?
and it was like, I was like, oh, it's worse than we thought. Oh no. Um, so she's a demigod, but has never been to the camp, but despite that, she's familiar with the term. She seems somewhat familiar with some things, unfamiliar with other things. Her knowledge is spotty in a way that should immediately read as suspicious to the reader, and from what I can tell, is even reading as suspicious as to Apollo as well. But just that he's kind of too stuck in his own head to dwell on it that much.
Yeah, because there's definitely a lot of glaring things that he probably should have questioned.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on, let's not question it.
Yeah, well, we're gonna question it later, and he will question it later too as well. Um, but oh yeah, we got this. We also get the little note as well that because Apollo's not good at withholding information, he lets slip that usually when he gets banished, he has to be in the service of someone, some mortal, usually a demigod, has to claim his service, and Meg immediately does within 5 seconds. She's like, "Cool, you're mine now," and
And he says, "Oh, and by the way, this is exactly how you claim me as servant."
she was like, "Thanks for telling me." and claims,
Idiot.
yeah, thanks for telling me, idiot. This is Meg. She's gonna be our he's gonna be Apollo's feral emotional support child. Or maybe Apollo will be her emotional support god. It goes both ways, I guess. Goes both
They
ways.
are something.
Their relationship ends up being far more wholesome than it has any right to be. Like they are maybe the sweetest brother sister slash father daughter duo I have ever laid eyes upon in many ways. And a lot of this is the fact that one, yes, she's just a weird little feral child, and two, over these first couple chapters, you will actually get the feeling that Apollo just gets her in a way that is completely unexpected and much more thorough than even you would expect based off of that initial impression. What I'm saying is it's going to get sad. Things are going to get sad. Chapter
Oh,
3,
it's
Apollo
sorry. Go.
chapter 3, Apollo finds out what he looks like, by the way. So, Lester Papadopoulos is the name on his license. He is a flabby Greek American boy with acne, and he's not even that flabby. Everyone just says like you're just kind of like average.
He's literally just a normal teen,
He's a normal
and
looking teenager.
Apollo takes it. Didn't care to take it away.
I don't have the quote down, but I do just know he was just crying over it, and then doing his mirror affirmations too, just like
He is such a dramatic bitch. Anything less than perfection has him basically wailing.
oh yeah. Uh,
He's just like, you're not that ugly, dude. You're kind of normal. Like, I am flabby and acne ridden. Like, you're
also,
not that bad. Terrible.
if you feel like we're exaggerating with the how much Apollo cries every chapter, like no, it's like almost every chapter. Like absolutely, almost every chapter is described that he is near tears, or that tears are welling up in his eyes, or that he just is sobbing actually, and he's just constantly just
Or
in
holding
emotional
back a
distress.
sob.
Yeah. He cries so much in this book. He is giving Steven Universe and Deku runs for their money. Like,
Oh, it's so funny.
mhm. Apollo, of course, wishes to go see Percy. Um, initially wanting Percy to take his service, but Percy wants one Meg claims it, and two, Percy wants fucking nothing to do with it. Me and Luck were actually talking about before stream about how this is one of those rare cases where we are in a POV of a character who Percy cannot fucking stand. And I've seen some people even claim that Percy is out of character in this book. And it's
No,
like,
not at all. This
no, this is just us being unused to being in the POV of a character that he can't fucking stand.
exactly. And like if you just remember how Percy interacts with people, this is just how he is when you can't hear his internal monologue.
And also, this is just how he is with adults that he doesn't respect. Right? Like, this is how he is with Ares, or with like Mr. D, or like even sometimes with Chiron. This is just he does not do all that well with authority, and despite the fact that Apollo is now demigod shaped, he's not gonna forget their earlier interactions. Yeah, Apollo's one of the nicer gods, but he still does not trust him because Percy does not trust gods.
Yeah. And Apollo, well, he has some baggage already assorted with him that Percy is well aware of.
And Apollo does not do anything within the span of this book to earn Percy's trust. He's done things to earn the trust of others, but not Percy. Percy is too busy trying to, finish senior year, get his SATs, and have Annabeth not kill him for not getting into college. Which I believe Percy getting into college becomes the major plot point of the Chalice of the Gods, the next mainline Percy Jackson book we're gonna get. So
Ooh, that sounds fun.
yeah, so that becomes important. Um, yeah, Percy opens the door to see them, and he's just like so unhappy to see him. He's like, no, this was my month off. Fuck.
He's just like, you know what, fuck this. I will take you there, and that is all I'm doing.
He is
I'm
pissed.
leaving this story.
He is pissed. He does not want to be in this book. Absolutely not. He says, "How dare you drag me into this?"
I am writing myself out of this story, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not.
Also Sally's pregnant in this one. Percy's gonna have a little sister.
Yay, she's pregnant.
And Apollo has to basically stop himself from hitting on her, by the way. He like barely stops himself from hitting on Sally. It's really
I think
funny.
Riordan himself had to stop Apollo as well.
Yeah.
Because, as I've said before, it started off from like, damn, Poseidon, nice catch, man. Like, if I was you.
Or if I
And
was you
then, like,
personally, I wouldn't have fumbled.
and then, like, halfway through, it then turns into, like, oh, yeah, the teenage hormones starting to get to me. I want to play COD.
Mhm.
Now I'm just thinking, Percy, you got a cool mom.
Oh yeah, also this
Riordan himself had to divinely intervene to hold back the horniness that can be Apollo.
this quote, by the way. Perhaps teenage angst had permeated the clothes because I felt more like a sulky high schooler than ever. I thought how unfair it was that I was being punished, how lame my father was, how no one else in the history of time had ever experienced problems like mine. Of course, all that was empirically true, no exaggeration was required. Like,
I mean,
I had to throw that in.
we're not joking when we talk a lot about what he is like.
He is just like this.
He is. It's
Mm.
hilarious. It's fun. I love him. He is such a failure in a great way.
Absolute girl fail. And also I think the whole space that he operates within the book is pretty interesting. Honestly, him being like, I was trying to wrap my head around this thought of like, is Apollo allegorically a teenager in this? Like, he's literally a teenager in this, but like also
Mhm.
Apollo, the wider character, Apollo the god, could you consider him allegorically a teenager? Even though he is clearly getting into he clearly has a lot of adult relationships. He has several kids that are main characters within this book, but he also is immature in a
Very.
way, very very deeply immature in a way that I think is most relatable to teenage readers, where he has this very like teenage kind of self-esteem, where what it is it's no self-esteem, it's zero self-esteem disguising itself as arrogance.
Yeah. And further going on with his relatability aspect, I feel like a lot of teen readers can probably relate to some of the angst parts of it, of feeling like everything is out against him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, teenage era.
Yeah, but
So I.
speaking of out against him, there is maybe one god that might actually be out against him, though. And Zeus, when I catch you, Zeus, when I catch you, Zeus.
Zeus, when I catch you, I'm gonna get smited by your lightning because I'm not that strong of a
Yeah,
person, but
yeah,
I will
it's
be impertinent to you. I
yeah,
will
yeah.
guarantee that.
I will tell you to
Catch
fuck
this
off at
ass.
least once before I die instantly by lightning bolt. First crumb that we get, the crumbs will increase until basically it is unignorable by the end. First crumb though, it happens relatively early on, which is that according to Percy, Apollo is basically missing for 6 months, right? So at the end of Blood of Olympus, Apollo gets snapped away from the narrative. Zeus just kind of yoinks him up to Olympus, and that was apparently 6 months ago. Apollo has no memory whatsoever at that time. All he knows is that next thing that's happening, he's tumbling down into a dumpster in the middle of Manhattan. And that's kind of worrying, right? People come up with their theories of what potentially might have happened during this point, whether it actually just took that long for Zeus to drain his immortality, or whether he was just alone with Zeus over that 6 months and just for one reason or another doesn't have any memory of that. But either way, that's concerning. Either way, that is deeply concerning. Either way, does not bode well for
It's yeah,
these two.
it's not really hinted at of which one it can be either. It's kind of just left for the reader to like decide.
Yeah, but either one not looking good. I feel like Apollo may need a trusted adult.
the question is who will be his
Yeah, who
trusted
the
adult?
fuck? Yeah,
I
who
would
the
say
fuck?
Chiron, but as soon as he gets to
Chiron, no.
Chiron, yeah, you could tell the
Hades
relation
doesn't.
is not
Right,
what he
right, right.
wanted.
Right. The other option. Hades doesn't care. Poseidon, maybe. Poseidon kind of got his own shit going on.
He's got the entire sea politics to go on
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
He's probably not going to care. Be like, Apollo, just deal with your shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy.
Mm-hmm. But we won't get through that. So right now, Annabeth is in Boston doing Magnus Chase things, and Percy drives them over to the over to camp in his Prius. Now, of course, we have a monster attack happening pretty much immediately.
And Percy gets pulled over by the cops.
Oh wait, actually, I forgot this. I forgot this little thing over here where Meg gets a new outfit, and she takes a shower, and Sally gives her a new outfit and all that, and she cleans up really nicely. But Apollo's just like crying there, being like, "Oh, she looks just like Daphne, my lost love. She could be her daughter. Oh no!" Like he's
Again,
just
a dramatic bitch.
yeah. He's just like, "Oh, Daphne, she could be our daughter. Oh no, my lost love." Just
He has a lot of paternal feelings over Meg.
he has so many. And also Meg immediately gets a crush on Percy, which is really cute.
Percy just unconsciously pulls.
Don't say that.
See Nico.
I mean, yeah, with Nico, but it's not about pulling. He just he gives off
You,
good older brother vibes. I think where just the crushes
yeah,
happen.
you know what? Yeah,
And then
I think that's a much better way to phrase
yeah,
it.
and then he mentions Annabeth, his girlfriend, and she just like sours immediately. It's like, oh,
Yeah, we forgot to mention. They do get to camp, and we get a who's who of some of the new gen.
yeah, yeah. So, we get Harley, who is a child of Hephaestus, Leo's younger brother, who misses him very dearly.
Makes a beacon to try finding him.
We get Kayla and Austin, two of Apollo's kids, uh, who alongside Will are going to be basically our supporting cast for this book. And of course, Will and Nico at this point are together as well. So Nico is
They're
also
incredibly
they're
cute.
so cute. I love how Nico just like basically threw a fit until they let him stay at the Apollo table.
Hold on, he gets so much better because basically he's just like, "Oh no, I'm not abusing my powers. It's just I have such emotional instability that my powers just flare up
he
when not around other
kept on summoning
people."
skeletons and zombies every time he was alone until they finally caved and let him just
Yeah,
sit with
well,
Will.
and well, here's the punchline. There's like, "It's okay though. I have a doctor's note. Will, I'm his doctor."
Yeah, he says that multiple times. He says, "I have a doctor's
He,
note." Yeah.
they're so
He's like, "I
great.
have a
I
doctor's
love
note. I
them.
can be here."
They're so cute. I love them.
It's really fucking funny. I cannot
Will
wait
is
until
such
we
a
get to their
funny
book. I
character.
cannot wait until we get to their book. Will Will is
Will,
Will is so funny. Like I think I wrote down somewhere where their pairing is basically like you know that one meme of like party rockers in the house tonight, and then it's party rock is, and then just they make out. I'm like, that's the two of them basically.
yeah,
They're so perfect. They're so fucking cute. Um.
they are.
Mm-hmm. Uh. Oh yeah. Also, chapter 7 here. Um. I This is what I mean when I say that Apollo at the end of the day is really just an irresponsible teen. He has this line here, which is, "And FYI, the Black Death was not my fault. I took 1 century off to lie around the beach in Cabo and came back and came back and found that the Nosoi had gotten loose and a third of the continent was dead. Gods, I was so irritated." So it's like, yeah, that's kind of the vibe with Apollo here, where it's like it's not so much that
Not
he
taking.
does horrible things, but more so that
He was
he
neglected.
he's very neglectful, and he tends to,
Immature,
yeah, he tends to be immature. And I think the only,
victimizes himself.
yeah, yeah, of course, once we really dig into the emperors here, I assume we're gonna get more into like the way he can actually be more than just complicit and more like actively participating a bit,
Mhm.
because
I
oh
feel like
boy,
yeah,
he sure is related to a lot of those emperors.
yeah. I feel like at best, he is going to be a passive bystander that allows bad things happen, and that's at best. At worst, he's egging things on because he wants to get laid.
Mm.
He's gonna turn around to Commodus and say like, "Oh yeah, you're totally the best gladiator ever. Now give me a kiss."
Basically, yeah. I'm gonna have a whole note there, a whole note later on about like potential paths this character could take. I'll keep on going. I'll keep on going through. Oh, also chapter 8 revealed that Yoko Ono did not break up the Beatles. It was Apollo, actually. This is true,
As
by
we
the way.
all already knew.
We all know already that Yoko Ono didn't break up the Beatles, but the fact that Apollo did was a surprise.
Oh, we forgot to mention. Meg summoned a dog. Its name is Carpos the Peach.
Oh yeah, Peaches the Carpos, like a weird cherub
Grain
grain
spirit
spirit
of a
looking thing.
yeah.
Um, it's very funny. If it's not obvious, if it's not very obvious, Meg is a child of Demeter,
I don't think it
goddess
was.
of the harvest.
I don't think it was very obvious. We didn't exactly say a lot about her powers.
I
Now
mean,
we should probably describe a
she's doing a
little bit
lot of
about
stuff. She's doing a
herself.
lot of stuff with fruit, doing a lot of stuff with produce. So Meg is, well, we did describe her a little bit, right? She's a feral little child who clearly has a lot of issues. Who, as she enters camp, you get a really good idea of some more of these issues, as she has a hard time socializing with others, right? A lot of the other campers seem to find her weird and off-putting, and her first instinct, rather than to try and get along with them, is to basically establish a pecking order, right? To try
Yeah.
and to try and fight back, or do such and such, or take what they do and what they say maybe a little too seriously. You can tell she just is not used to being around other children much, and this continues to get more and more concerning as you go along, basically. um
Yeah. Child of
yeah.
Demeter, and she also has some interesting stuff going on with her, which we might be jumping a little ahead when I say this, but I mean, we might as well bring it up now while we're still in character introduction.
Oh,
She has crescent moons, which actually turn out to be sickle blades.
yes. As
Standard
like crescent
Imperial gold.
moon crescent moon rings specifically.
Yes.
And there, yeah, imperial
Yeah.
gold is interesting because Greek demigod.
Roman. Yes.
Imperial gold is specifically associated with the Roman camp. Interesting. Oh yeah, also here, some more lines here. So they, as they enter, when they near camp, Apollo has this line where I was just kind of taken aback by the level of angst on display here, which is, they were just trees. Even if they had dryad spirits, those dryads couldn't possibly hold me responsible for what happened thousands of years ago on a different continent. Why not? I asked myself. You still hold yourself responsible. It's like, okay. Wow,
Layers.
he's not okay, is he? And yeah, even earlier he has basically was essentially a flashback where he just starts like, he gets that 1,000 yard stare on his face as he actually really starts thinking about Hyacinthus and Daphne at one point. And you're
Hmm.
like, goes from like him just being over dramatic to, oh, he's like not okay, is he?
No.
It's not well. Um, in between all this angst, you're getting his mirror affirmations where he's like, "You are gorgeous and people love you," and then he's hearing the voices and being beset by the horrors and going insane and passing out and puking, and
He
the
is
duality of
not
Apollo.
well.
The duality of Apollo. Um,
Oh, and once he does unite with Chiron, the funniest thing happens. Uh Chiron says like, Apollo, yes, surely you must have answers. Apollo's like, I kind of was
What?
hoping for answers from you.
Yeah, so little disaster at Camp Happening, which is that the camp is shockingly empty. Several campers seem to be missing, and they're not really sure what's going on with this. So, uh, sorry, I just saw my next note. And I just they're not really sure what's going on with this. They're hoping that Apollo would understand, but Apollo doesn't. But Apollo is pretty sure that what he'll have to do is figure it out. That's step one of this quest. And for once, he can't just outsource that to some demigods. He has to do it on his own.
He
Um,
tried. He
mhm.
tried his best to outsource it.
Yeah. Oh, also, I have this little like paraphrasing quote here, which is Apollo. Apollo. So you're probably wondering what I think of Nico X Will. Well, Nico is a bit weird, but explains how he is the superior bisexual. Actually, that was basically
He's
the vibe of that.
That is basically what he does. It's just like, oh yeah, that's a cute relationship. Here's mine.
It's like those memes about people who come out to their parents and then their parents explain why actually they've had way more gay sex than their kids ever have.
It's basically the vibe of, Dad, I'm gay. Okay, well, I was at Stonewall, so I think we know who
Yeah.
wins.
He's like, did Kayla not inform you how she was conceived? Like, uh, were you expecting me to not like try and flex on you? Like
It's a very funny
mm.
scene.
But also even Mr. D hasn't returned since Gaia. Uh and Apollo heavily expects that this has to do with his old enemy Python, and we start to get the indication that Apollo's confrontation with Python back way back in ancient Greek times was not um well, it wasn't as easy as he tried to make it out to be. He seems actually quite scared, doubly so because he's now much more vulnerable than he was as a god, and apparently even as a god, it was a pretty difficult, terrifying fight. Reminder, it was like one of the first things he did as a new god. And he was just born as one, so he was basically probably actually a teenager when he first fought Python.
So, needless to say, him doing it as a mortal now seems like quite the
Oh,
challenge.
it's straight up triggering for him. He's like having a panic attack even just considering it.
Is it weird to say I kind of like when he panics like
Oh, me
this?
too. Oh, me too. Oh, me too. Like like he is so pathetic and so good and he hurts so pretty and I don't know. I'm very normal about him, right? I want to put him like what's that like melon tea quote where it's like I want to put him into a bottle and then put that bottle into a bag and then take that bag and swing it over my head real hard until my arm hurts, you know. Uh
Yeah, that about tracks.
next quote by the way I have from early chapter 12 is Austin and Kayla peppered me with questions about Olympus, the war with Gaia, and what it felt like to be a god and then a human. I knew they did not mean to be rude. As my children, they were inherently inclined to the utmost grace. However, their questions were painful reminders of my fallen status. This is one of the first notes that's actually really important for the character of Apollo, important to why we like him still, why despite everything we still like him as a character, and that's that the gods have a pretty nasty habit of being very bad parents. But we get every indication that Apollo is not one of those.
Yeah, because I didn't have this written down, but if I remember right, didn't he like actually remember the names of his kids
He
as
remembers the
they
names of
approached
all
him?
of them. He remembers exactly how all of them were conceived. He seems they all seem to be familiar with him. They though they're comfortable calling him dad because he is now their age and they're like
It's
we
a
don't know what to do.
teenage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh they he seems to just love his kids and they genuinely seem to want to help him in a way that is not tinged with even the slightest amount of resentment. There was actually a pretty touching scene like later on that I want to point out when we get there.
Alrighty. Shall we get into the girl failure of Apollo doing camp's chores?
Oh, I'm checking here. Oh wait, also a little thing here, which is that Oh, also another thing about Apollo remembering names. Apollo actually, so they give us a little rundown on where all the Heroes of Olympus guys are. Right, Percy and Annabeth going to school in New York, Piper and Jason going to school in L.A., Hazel and Frank are in New Rome, and Leo sent a message telling everyone he's not dead and he shacked up with Calypso some time ago but hasn't returned. With Apollo actually naming Leo specifically, hello, is that random thing? So Apollo names Leo specifically, and Nico seems surprised that Apollo remembers Leo's name. And
I actually did
yeah.
kind of find that nice of like, oh, hey, Nico saying like, wait, it's my kind of friend?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised you remember him.
And this line too later on, which is I could not add my children. It didn't seem right. These demigods are my protectors and my family, but for the present I could not think of myself as their father. A father should do more. A father should give more to his children than he takes. I have to admit that this was a novel idea for me. It made me feel even worse than before. And it's like Apollo's a good dad. I don't know what to say. Apollo's a good dad. Peeking the fucking
It
mic here.
it definitely feels heavily implied that he, for all intents and purposes, was probably the best dad at that camp.
He really was. So what was the point you were gonna go into? The camp
Uh,
activities, right?
Jog my memory.
Camp activities. Um,
Oh, yes, that's right. Dramatic bitch Apollo when it came to archery and song.
yeah. He tries some archery with Kayla. Remembers
Wait, hold on. Let's go with song first because the
song.
thing happens.
That was with Austin.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he just passively
Wait,
scares
actually,
skaters.
you're skipping ahead a little bit. You're skipping ahead quite a bit.
Maybe a little. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
So they announced the three-legged death race through the labyrinth. Around this time is
By
when
the way,
Meg,
Labyrinth built itself.
yeah, labyrinth rebuilds itself. Meg is revealed to be a daughter of Demeter. And oh yeah,
She's a communist.
here's where I found this. So apparently, fall in love with every musician he's ever met. Apollo fell in love with one of Demeter's daughters back in the day, and now Demeter has beef with him. You know, normal shit at this point. Not even a surprise. And
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
that's kind of just the
yeah.
default state of him.
Yeah, and also this is the line, by the way, where I was talking about like a tender. Oh yeah, oh like someone says like she's a communist. This is the funniest thing ever. Um, Apollo at one point is pretending to sleep, where and his kids like look over him and kind of sadly say, "We're all he's got now," and that was just once again just my heart hurts.
Oh, it was such a
Mm.
sad bit.
It's
I
also
feel like he
yeah.
literally in the book, it was just like, oh, I tried to hold back my sob so they couldn't hear my
Yeah,
weakness, something like that.
literally had me wondering, like, Paul's a pretty unreliable narrator from his perspective with how, Apollo he can be about everything. Some of this seems like not that bad, but moments like this make me wonder if he's like not okay actually. Like, I wonder if this was from other people's perspectives, we would actually feel more bad for him rather than less. Like
Yeah,
objectively, he's had a
so
pretty difficult couple of days.
yeah, I'm going to be entirely honest. When he says I held back a sob, I'm fully expecting they heard it.
Fully, honestly, fully.
Yeah, there's been
Mm,
like a later on in the story where it's just like, oh no, I was totally fine,
mm,
and then it's written in a way where it's like, yeah, no, it absolutely did not work like that.
mm.
So like, I feel like we have just cause to say, yeah, if you say he sobbed, he sobbed.
Oh yeah. And also later on, right? They have breakfast, and you see Meg, who, like I said before, does not get along well with others. He walks up to her to talk to her. His internal monologue is very like, Meg is a feral little gremlin. I can't wait to throw her to the sun. But the way he talks with her, you get this feeling like the second he goes up to talk to her, she kind of relaxes, right? Like she kind of
Yeah,
puts her guard down a bit and seems almost happy to see him. And he is so blunt and honest with her. I wonder if unintentionally he's kind of making her feel better because she feels like she knows where she stands with him. Right? The others are doing all this stuff, right? They're kind of messing with her. They are treating her like a bit of a freak. But he kind of comes over here and he seems to know exactly how to talk with her. He seems to just know how to be blunt with her and seems to just be completely honestly accepting of just her weirdness and kind of who she is. even as he'll like mentally comment on it, mentally be like, haha, yeah, wow, she sure reminds me of Persephone with like, oh, she scarfs away those fucking spare ribs. But like, even just the way that comparison is done is he's comparing her to family. It's a comparison that I think hardly anyone else would find to be negative. Um, so I think just oddly enough, despite the fact that sometimes his internal monologue would have you believe that he can't stand her, uh, you get every feeling that they actually get along supremely well.
Again, baby's first unreliable narrator.
Yes. Now, okay, here's where we get the Apollo training sequence where it goes very badly, right? So music class, he plays so well that the other campers there start going a little insane. Apparently, he has retained some of his powers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just some. But basically, like, there was the two, Damien and Chiara. They're just like, oh damn, hey Apollo, here, can you fix the guitar? He's like, oh yeah, sure. Let me just replace the string. He just starts tuning it, and then
He
it's
starts
just like, that was
sobbing.
so beautiful. What was that? It's called tuning the guitar. Damien comes by, it's just like, yeah, it's just tuning the guitar. It's soft, it's fine. And then he's like, oh, by the way, you want to hear a simple chord progression? Place it, and now Damien's in the arms of her, and then, like, it's so beautiful.
Doesn't Damien break his guitar? Doesn't Damien break his guitar like like
Yes.
out of frustration and anger and like sadness? He starts breaking
He's
his
just like,
own
I will never
guitar.
play as good as that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Austin looks like he's on the verge of tears, and Apollo's like, I'm gonna leave, I think.
Let me go to archery. Maybe I'm still a good archer. And the funny thing is, he is a pretty great archer.
Also,
However, he's not perfect.
that random thing one saying that honestly so real as a guitar player. Also, huh?
Oop,
I thought
that's
I increased mod settings before. Maybe have to go back and check it again.
yeah.
Um,
I just killed it.
mhm. And our archery is interesting. First off, we get some. First off, Apollo's not bad at archery, right? He's just not to the level he's used to. But Kayla, his daughter, is like it's kind of as good as we'd expect any like Apollo kid on their first day to be, aka like pretty good.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, man, you're pretty good. Like that's better than a lot of normal people. Like you're
Yeah.
pretty great for an Apollo kid.
Yeah, like
And there's like, I am
yeah,
not perfect.
good enough where if they didn't know who he was, they probably would have clocked him as an Apollo kid. And yeah, because he's not fucking Merida. He's quite he immediately swears an oath on the river
He
Styx that
doesn't have aim bots.
he's never gonna touch a bow or an instrument again until he gets his godly powers
Divinity.
back. Wow, that oath sure doesn't last. We get to see our first instance of an oath on the river Styx being broken. We get to see the consequences of that actually in this
Multiple
book.
times.
Oh yeah. Also, a little lore drop here, which is that Kayla, as I alluded to before, Kayla's mortal parent was a male archery coach. Now,
Instructor. Yeah.
my assumption is that this was an Athena Immaculate Conception kind of deal, right? That's my assumption of what Rick intended. However,
However,
however, however, I'm taking this to assume that M. Prague is now canon. Fight me.
Apollo got impregged.
Fight
Canon.
me.
No, I'm okay with that as canon.
Good. Anyway, another Daphne related PTSD episode. Honestly, shouldn't be surprised. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No one should be surprised. But it was also one of those things where it's like the way people would talk about, the way fans would talk about it. My assumption was that that was just fanon. That like sometimes the gods can have kids with same sex partners, but to actually just
Like,
see
no, it
it
just
stated,
happens.
would actually see it just stated was surprising to me. So I was like, oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah. In hindsight, we probably should have just outright assumed this to be true,
We should have.
because gestures at Athena.
Yeah, that was yeah. Honestly, I'm just considering all the vibes that Athena gives off. I'm actually shocked that there's that didn't come up with her first. What I'm saying is
True.
Athena has big college lesbian vibes.
We're definitely going to get to the big college lesbian vibes later.
Yeah. Um what do we got here? Okay, so we see I think we this is our
Forest
first.
Buckery.
Yeah, we get some forest buckery. We get an instance of a student um
Yeah,
uh,
an Aries boy.
yeah, wandering off into the forest. Apollo and Kayla managed to stop him, but he was looking for Ellis, his missing friend, and his GF, who seems fine and still at camp. Something about this causes something to click in Apollo's mind, and he believes he's figured it out to the point where when the labyrinth race comes up, he's doing everything he can to get someone's ear to try and listen to him, and none of them will because none of they're not giving him the godly respect anymore, so he doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be entirely honest. If it wasn't for the fact he swore on the river Styx, I was half expecting for him to just shoot towards someone.
No. He doesn't
I
for
know
now. For now.
yeah, he seems dramatic enough where if he didn't make that, he
Mm-hmm.
probably would have shot towards Kyle and say like, "Do I got your attention now?" I don't know. He seems like that type.
Yeah. Oh, also more angst. Oh yeah, that random
Just
thing
let
one, is this just
Kyle
about the first
follow
book?
hidden oracle.
Yes, just for today. We'll get on to the next book next month. That's how the no, not
Mm,
next month. That's going to be 2 months from now, cuz next month we're going to do Magnus Chase 2. This is our book
Let's
club series. This is how,
Boogaloo.
yeah.
Join the
This is our
Discord. Yeah, it's in the about section.
doing one book at a time, one per month. We've been doing this since the Lightning Thief for like more than a year now.
Oh goodness, time
Yeah,
flies.
it does. Sure does. Is that Sora? That is Sora. We do Kingdom Hearts streams on Wednesdays.
And don't forget Marvel Mondays.
Don't forget Marvel. We got so much. We got like 3 different stream series going on. Look at us.
And if you also
Yeah.
go over to youtube.com, Lily Polydora, you
Big
will see.
videos. Voltron one coming
Let's.
soon. We got a lot going on. But okay, so I got this quote here. Before we get lost in the plugs, I get this quote here. All the links down in the doobly doo. Don't worry, they're all down in the panels, all of them. Um, so this quote here. Oh yeah, we see. So he sees Harley, the little Hephaestus kid, making a device to help Leo find his way home, and he starts doing his favorite hobby, feeling depressed. He has this quote. I stared after him in amazement. For 6 months, the boy had been working on a beacon to help his missing brother Leo. I wondered if anyone would work so hard to bring me back home to Olympus. I very much doubted it. It's like,
Was that also the bit where he said, "I'm surprised no one gave me at least a gift package"?
maybe? Don't remember. Uh
But he's such a sad sack. I love him.
he is a sack full of sad. Oh yeah, this is also where I really started to get endeared to Meg and Apollo as a duo for sure, right? Like, so like he'll say he doesn't like her, but I'll like immediately, but like is also like immediately on her bullshit and helping her however he can. Other campers immediately view him as Meg's handler, and you really do get the sense that he just knows how to talk to her in a way that puts her at ease. Like, okay, and specifically about getting on her bullshit, right? There's like a scene in particular where these two Hermes girls are trying to put like a tracking device on her in order to get a leg up on her in the race, and Apollo finds it and just like just like throws it away, and then just kind of like turns to them and just says like, oh, you don't mind, oh, I hope you don't mind what I did with your
Oh,
shoes, right?
the
Just like,
powerful
yeah,
ability. Live.
yeah, he's like, I hope you don't mind what I did with your shoes, right? You don't hate snakes, right? And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, don't worry about it, bye. And he
Again,
did nothing.
and
Yeah,
one of his most powerful abilities,
he is the
lying.
god of truth, so it would follow.
Oh,
Start,
but
yeah.
I honestly really liked that scene as well, just because it's like, yo, they on the same wavelength.
It's very cute. Meg was actually Loki rage baiting me through the book, but they're an iconic duo. They are absolutely an iconic duo. I adore them.
Yeah, I still find it a bit funny how basically throughout that entire, well, throughout most of the book,
Hmm.
Apollo saying stuff along the lines of like, "I'm bound to her. I have to be with her. I'm just going to get through my service and be done with this all." And then he's just like genuinely kind of chill with her as well as a lot of the
He
others.
loves her. He is so close to getting those adoption papers. He is gonna, like, you just get the feeling he's gonna just have them ready by book 5. He's just gonna like gonna slam them down on the table.
Demeter, I'm going to piss you off again because I want shared custody.
Yeah.
This isn't even your kid. Fuck you, it is
Mm.
now.
So they go. So the race starts, and immediately the pop up happens. Objective survive, and they get fast
And then
travel
they
to
fall into
Delphi.
Delta Room.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that too.
to Delphi. Now Python is there along with someone else that Python refers to as the Beast. Now, since I mentioned Roman emperors already, we should all know who. I mean, you should, like, just a quick wiki search, quick Google search would tell you who this is. Like, no reason to even hide it. Like, it's Nero. It's Nero. It's Emperor Nero.
It's Nero. Oh no, whoever could have seen this?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's
Oh, you mean this isn't Julius?
no. Uh while Apollo is terrified of Python, it's the man that has Meg absolutely petrified. Like, she's frozen in fear, and Apollo really genuinely notices this. And actually,
Mhm.
one thing here, because I know I didn't tell you it was Nero specifically before this, but I know that you knew that Roman emperors were on the table. So did you guess that it was Nero pretty early on when they mentioned the Beast?
I'm going to be entirely honest. I chose to not guess.
You chose to not guess.
I
You
was
just,
thinking,
yeah.
yeah, I was thinking like, all right, it might be him, but like, I'm not going to like try clocking it or reading that.
Mm,
I'm just going to read it as a faceless character, just in case Riordan does a bit more of a subversion type thing,
mm.
because another emperor was kind of referred to as the Beast, specifically from Judeo-Christian lens, Revelation stuff. Uh,
Wasn't that
so
Caligula?
technically, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other one that's also involved in this. uh anyway, they have a plan about just about finding and but finding all the oracles and destroying Apollo. That's their crux of the plan here. Um he also mentions having a mole in camp, and I also wonder if you clocked who that was pretty early on or not.
Which one?
Who the mole was.
I, funny enough, was thinking, well, I did, yeah, fuck it, we're already halfway through the book. Yeah, I already thought it was going to be her,
You're like, it's Meg,
except
right? It's Meg.
I wasn't expecting the end of the way things would be.
The
I
way the
was
way it was
genuinely
revealed was
expecting,
interesting.
yeah, I was genuinely expecting it to be more of a, I was working for you, but fuck you now type of thing. I was just like, oh fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck, this poor
Yeah.
child.
Oh yeah. Anyway, first oracle, the hidden oracle, is in the forest of Dodona, and that becomes their first stop essentially. Which is, it's luckily relatively nearby, since all them campers are going missing. So Apollo and Meg
Also,
return.
Apollo during all of this is my kids, my
Oh yeah,
kids.
they return, and Kayla and Austin are missing now, and he is not
My
fucking happy.
kids!
He manages to lock the fuck in and help Will attend to the wounded. And also Apollo there being like a proud father because Will's a better healer than he is, and he's like, oh yes, my son. It's like, my son's
Look at
I
my
have another son
son!
that's a doctor. Yes. Thinking of Asclepius specifically. He's just a proud parent. He's just a proud dad.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of been proud of like all of his kids
And even ones that
just
aren't
because
his
he's
kids.
he is like the universal father this camp
Mm.
needed.
Lest we forget his interaction with Harley in this section, where Harley, the kid that
Oh,
sets
this
up
is
the
so cute.
race, right? He comes to Apollo crying. He has been sobbing. He is terrified and deeply apologetic that this race made Kayla and Austin also go missing, and he is expecting Apollo to be furious with him, which, even if he's dormant right now, still a god. That's he's scared out of his fucking wits,
Yeah.
and all
Side note,
Apollo
I
wants
feel
to
like
do is
even if
comfort the poor
Apollo
kid.
Yeah. Side note, even if Apollo was just a demigod of Apollo, I feel like he still would have been equally
Still an
as
older
blubbery. The
kid.
kid,
Still an older
yeah, the
kid.
kid was torn and was expecting retribution and anger.
And all Apollo wants to do is comfort the poor kid. All his bluster about wanting to strike fear in the hearts of mortals melts away when presented with one tiny crying child.
He's just like, oh, poor boy. It's fine. The enemy is strong. So strong that even I, Apollo, am going to be struggling with it. So don't worry.
He even like helps him with his invention to try and get into contact with Leo, and just is just like he's just like, I need to hug child. Oh dear. Parental instincts kicking
Great.
in. The fact that he has parental instincts to kick in makes him better than 99% of all Olympians.
Oh, absolutely.
So he's about to go off on his own to go find his kids when Meg forbids him. And this becomes maybe one of the few times where he becomes genuinely angry with her, but it doesn't last.
Yeah, because she then gives a good reason of like, hey, idiot, you're just gonna get yourself killed. And it's like, okay, fine.
And she also, while they're sitting on the tree line, keeping vigil, very carefully talks about who the beast is. Very carefully. It's very
He
intentional the way she
only ever
discusses this.
refers to the beast as the beast and says it was the beast who killed her stepfather.
No, no, beast who killed her father.
Or killed her, and she had a great stepfather. Don't look into it.
Yeah, the beast killed her father, and then she was taken in by her stepdad, who was good to her, and she stays vigilant and trains hard because that's the only thing protecting her from the beast. It's worded very, very carefully, and
Carefully.
it may seem hokey at first, but the book is honestly doing something interesting with this. So just hang tight. Um, Even Apollo understands that some of what she's saying does not make sense because the fear that she had of the beast seemed way too personal. But he chooses not to pry. And he also tosses aside the idea that Meg can possibly be the mole because then he'd be dead already, obviously, right? But he's
Of
still
course, of course.
gears are turning in his head. She was still, if he mentioned that meant that she was the first one he considered, which is notable.
Yeah, honestly, he like does not dwell on the subject of the mole.
Mm-hmm. And next chapter, Rachel Elizabeth Dare shows up in a helicopter. She's not looking good. Inspiration having left her. She even like painted over all the
A
paintings in
great
her
painting that
yeah.
Apollo was kind of saying like, oh,
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
good one. What happened to it? Like, eh.
Yeah. No, there were two satyr messengers that went to her. Both of them died, and we actually get a little bit of potential lore here, where Chiron seems to look older at the news that he gets of these two dying, and uh, yeah, that actually Apollo at one point is actually wondering why Chiron doesn't look eternally youthful like the rest of the gods, and this might actually be the in-story reason as to why that like the deaths of the heroes that he trains and works with literally weighs on him because he is still an immortal, like he's Zeus's sibling, he's a child of Kronos.
Honestly, I kind of interpreted it a bit more. It's gonna be weird to say, a bit Lord of the Ring-ish. Basically, he imparts a little bit of himself in every hero he helps train up, so when they die, he loses that bit of him. That's kind of how
Possibly.
I interpreted it.
That I like that. I like that actually. We learned about Triumvirate Holdings. It's an ultra rich company with some clear Roman ties. That's been it's been the owner of like all the major property that's appeared in the series, from the Princess Andromeda to the building the Octavian Allied Romans owned in the city, etc., etc., etc. Basically, they're like, this is the company, the shadow company it's been responsible for all of it. That kind of vibe.
I have here written in my notes, it seems the true enemy all along was the military-industrial complex.
Exactly. Now these guys have been around for centuries, so we get the clear implication that the Doors of Death had nothing to do with it in this case. That these guys have just been around.
Hmm. They've just been existing.
Yeah.
We don't get too much indication of the how.
Also, Apollo mentions 4 other oracles, and Rachel is pissed as if she's his girlfriend that he cheated on.
Just like,
She's like, no,
dude,
baby, what we have
I'm
is
the
special. I
Oracle.
promise. No, no, don't be jealous.
Literally,
You're different than those other girls.
yeah, literally, she's just like, I'm sorry, there's other oracles like lesser, weaker, not as important.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you're the main oracle. You're here at camp,
yeah.
and she's like, sure.
she's pissed. I'm like, Apollo, this is why you have so many evil exes. Apollo.
Rachel Elizabeth there is going to become the next evil X.
She's considering it.
Is Apollo just Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah, yeah. Scott, he is both Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers. He's both at once.
Yes, I also meant to say Ramona Flowers. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Like he's pathetic like Scott Pilgrim, but the evil X's are his, and he does have to fight them.
He got the worst of both
He
worlds.
did. All the personality flaws of Scott Pilgrim, but all of the baggage of Ramona Flowers. God. Anyway, Meg has this idea that they have, they track down and try to glean what they can from Dodona themselves, just her and Apollo, no one else, which definitely isn't suspicious. Don't worry about it.
It's totally fine. Apollo's not
Yeah.
caring because my kids.
If Apollo doesn't care, then I don't care either. Um,
Exactly.
so Will,
Vegas for
yeah.
some reliable narrator.
Also, Will gives Apollo a combat ukulele.
This surely will have no
I'm
repercussions.
sure it won't. And Paolo gives Apollo a Brazilian bandana for luck and a kiss on the cheek, and
Oh,
Apollo's bisexual ass is just already losing it.
oh, I kind of want to just add this in for the sake of world building. Apparently, Athena has been pitching everyone like, "Hey guys, start learning Portuguese. We're probably going to go to
It's gonna be
Brazil
big.
soon.
It's gonna be big, guys.
Gonna be great. You're going to Brazil like the old memes."
Yeah.
I'm genuinely kind of curious on why Riordan made that plot thing, or
Maybe it
it's
was
an offhanded joke.
maybe it was more relevant at the time. Maybe we're missing some cultural context, some historical
Maybe,
context from 10 years ago.
yeah, because like I know people have said like, oh yeah, Brazil's going to eventually become a new great power in the world stage, but they've been saying that for a while.
It kind of hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, the same with India.
Mm. So
Let's
they
moving
go into the
on.
forest. They meet a geyser spirit. Apollo does some bad poetry. Rolls a nat 20 on deception. Some monsters arrive. A lot of stuff happens rapid fire. Right, the giant ants.
Yeah, I will say,
Yeah,
this story, it kind of picks up breakneck pace towards the end there, because
but the
I
last 10
feel in a weird,
chapters are quite
yeah,
dense.
I feel like it kind of. All right, so it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag when I say this. I personally like it just because I do kind of like the fleshing of things out a bit more. But they really dwelled a lot more on characterization and connecting with others, which is why the first 20 or so chapters basically had no quest, no mission, no greater arc of things. It was just, we're doing camp stuff. And it was really only the last 20-ish chapters where they were like, all right, let's go do a mission. And then the last 10 where things really hit the fan.
Mm-hmm. I know I accuse those Heroes of Olympus books of being a little bloated sometimes, right? Like those are the books where I think Riordan really got away from the editors a bit. And I think this is the book where he finally truly came back to them, where it feels tight, it feels considered, it feels like the focus is where it should be and where you as the reader want it to be truly. Not that there aren't fun action sequences, but that those are like those they're used carefully, they're condensed, nothing ever feels like it's dragging, right? It's a pretty brisk read, it goes at a brisk pace, and Magnus Chase was
Which
similar,
I
where we
think
praised it for just being like a very just readable book.
Yeah, which I think it also has something to do with the length of the book as well. It definitely was much
Mm.
smaller than the others.
Listen, a lot of books could benefit from simply cutting out a good.
Getting an editor.
Yeah, yeah, getting an editor, cutting out a good just depending on the length, a good just fourth of it, you know,
Mhm.
just chopping it down a bit. And that's what happened here. And yeah, I'm glad that it felt tight like this and that we didn't waste 10 chapters side questing at the camp. Even the Lightning Thief could side quest a bit. Even the Lightning Thief took about halfway through to actually get out of to actually get on the quest proper.
Yeah, which is like I said, it's a mixed thing depending on your vibe. That might be a
Mm-hmm.
step back too much, or if you're more of my mind, I think it was great.
Now, two things with chapter 24. One, Meg is a much better fighter than Apollo. Apollo actually does hardly any combat in these books. He is very much a support character, right? In this, eventually, he actually does play the ukulele out of desperation, which, oops, broke his oath there. Later on, he fires a single arrow, but outside of that, he honestly, no, just within that, he just is very much a support character. With D&D terms, he's a bard thoroughly. He's not getting into scrapes
A
on his
bard that
own.
suffers every time he plays.
Yeah. Yeah, he sings himself hoarse several times. He nearly makes himself sick with his own singing at times. Now, no, Meg is taken by the ants, and Apollo
And
makes a
Apollo
second
takes
oath at
this
this point.
well.
Takes it really well. Um, so we get a bit of lore here about how oaths on the river
Death.
Styx actually works, how
Yep.
breaking them actually works, right? We understand. We
Yes.
we hear that. So it's not that like there's immediate painful retribution, and more that like, uh,
You will now be on a road to your destruction, but
yeah,
it'll be a long one.
yeah. It's long suffering misfortune that eventually leads to destruction. So basically, the idea being that whatever horrible events happen for the next several books, it's going to be because he broke this oath over here. Any misfortune that happens is because of that. Which, means that I'm sure we're in for a really great, fun, just carefree. I'm sure it's a smooth sailing from here, guys, kind of story. I'm sure nothing bad will happen.
He also breaks it so many more times.
Oh, so many more times. I mean, he can't re-break it once it's already broken. Floodgates are open, so he just freely just sings and uses
Damned.
arrows from this point on.
But yeah, so the second oath.
Mm-hmm.
There is a
Yeah.
geyser god, and he was like, I swear I will get Meg back within 24 hours. And then the guy's just like, dude, that's kind of stupid. If you break this oath, you're just gonna like die. Like I do this instant. A guy's just gonna kill you, man. Like you still doing this? I'm still doing that. You already said the word, man. You're locked in.
Yeah. Also Apollo stumbling through the forest with a concussion, just like trying to get a healer, and just it's just again, he's so pathetic. He's put through the ringer so badly in this book.
I genuinely loved him hobbling through a forest, concussed, daydreaming, or yeah, daydreaming, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
about his previous loves.
Now this is where he meets his grandmother, Rhea. Rhea confirming Apollo's worst suspicions that the Triumvirate are the old emperors of Rome, and also she's a lot of fun. She's like a hippie, like went to the original
She's Iris,
Woodstock kind of
but
gal,
yeah, she's basically Iris, but like better done,
and also
if that
black.
makes sense. Yes,
10 out
but
of
in
10.
terms of personality, she's just how
Mm-hmm.
best to describe it?
Here I have this
Yeah,
line. I have this line from her.
classical.
They're tied of course they're tied to the course of Western civilization, even though that whole concept is imperialist Eurocentric propaganda, man. Is a line she has
Exactly, I love her.
based.
She's absolutely right in everything she says.
Literally our main point of book one. But yeah. Also next chapter Apollo has a vision of Hyacinthus, and immediately wakes up in camp, insisting that he's going to go right now to go find Meg, and also that the beast is almost certainly Emperor Nero.
Da 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 done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh wait,
poor
oh my god! I
Paul.
just have this note of just the ant has the supernatural car. It's the supernatural car, guys. Did an ant
The
have a Chevy
Impala.
Impala? It was like the specific year was the
I
right year too.
I don't remember anything about a car. Instead, I just mostly have notes about
Yeah.
Apollo. He did his Song of Despair.
Oh yeah, while he's walking through the ant camp, and then one of them chews on a Chevy Impala, on a 1967 Chevy Impala.
That did not clock for me.
I saw the Chevy Impala, and then I saw the year, and I was like, wait a minute.
Riordan, what are
Riordan.
you?
Riordan. Do we watch the same shows, Riordan? Riordan.
Riordan, are you my level of freak?
Mm-hmm. Now, these three notes I have, which is Meg is rescued and seems both touched and apologetic. Apollo asks the DM to seduce the Ant Queen and rolls a nat 20. They head out.
Oh yeah, also, Meg seems to genuinely be a little distraught about, oh Apollo, your life is so sad.
Mm,
Apollo's response, that's just the music speaking, you'll be better.
yeah. So, we properly meet Nero for the first time, and he's described like an Italian mob boss, basically. You know, purple suit, chin strap beard, gold chains out the wazoo, kind of a bit of a pot belly.
I'm gonna be honest, my mental, like, voice association with him was, like, kinda Scarface-ish.
Yeah, right, like a little bit, yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think I had a strong mental voice for him, but now that you say that, like, yeah, absolutely. So this chapter makes an obvious connection between Apollo and the Mad Emperors of Rome. Explicit. So I have a sorry. I wrote an essay, so just sit tight. This chapter makes obvious the connection between Apollo and the Mad Emperors of Rome. Explicitly, most of them are descendants of his, and the one that wasn't was his lover, but we'll get to that. With Octavian also turning out the way he did, there's a clear pattern here, making Apollo the patron god of, among other things, mad despots. This brings up a really interesting potential critique of him that I wonder if they will ever explore. Apollo is very clearly attracted to power. He likes holding power over others and enjoys being around the powerful even more. While not strictly a mad king himself, this literal lust for power combined with his general teenage brand of irresponsibility becomes a pretty toxic combination. Now, this could be taken as either an active or passive negative trait, which I think they're going more the passive route. If passive, then all he really needs to do is learn with great power comes great responsibility, and if active, then it must be assumed that he is literally making them worse in some way, potentially through giving delusions of grandeur, which actually seems to be supported with how Octavian turned out. Um, the prior is boring and what I assume the book will do. The latter is really interesting, presenting him almost as this being that ruins just about everyone he touches. Half petulant child and half incubus that feeds on power and poisons the minds of everyone around him. It's a villain origin that goes at least a bit beyond the typical Batman makes his own villains kind of shtick, and I am waiting with bated breath to see what all they'll do with it. While I assume they'll take the boring route because I've read these books and I know what I've tempered my expectations. I have also I'm also aware of what kind of generally what's going on with the Commodus arc.
Oh, you know.
So I'm aware that like it's not necessarily all going to be presented as a passive thing. That there was an active role that he was involved with there. I don't want to spoil too much of it. Not for your sake, because I've already told you everything that I know, but for everyone else's sake, if they're watching these in order, you know, we're trying to avoid future book spoilers too badly.
Mm.
Um, we also get Meg admitting that she's been working for Nero, and as she puts it, the beast killed her father, and Nero is her stepfather. Which is not
This
as
totally
hacky
isn't the
as it
talk of
seems, I
someone.
promise.
Yeah, this totally isn't the talk of someone who's traumatized and is walking around eggshells trying to placate the emotions of someone who has a negative emotional side.
Yeah. So, the next chapter is a back and forth between Nero and Apollo, basically playing tug of war with Meg. But and these are them another essay. Sit tight, strap in again for the second course on this ride. And what the book does by separating the beast and Nero in Meg's eyes. This is basically an abuse tactic on Nero's part, right? So a common thing abusers will do is frame their abuse as passive, like look at what you made me do, or actions have consequences, or blaming it on substances, the alcohol made me do it, or at worst, even personifying the instrument of abuse. We'll get to that
Don't
with
get on the
Zeus.
wrong side of my
We'll get to
bolts.
that with Zeus. I've heard of some parents naming the switches they use, for example. This is an extreme version of it, and again, Zeus will come up, but functionally, that is what Nero is doing here, separating the nice stepfather from the abuser that Meg fears activating, basically. It's far too easy to imagine him saying, Meg, do as you're told, you don't want to anger the beast, do you? And her later harshly separating those two in her mind to basically protect her psyche. Though she is fully aware that both are the same person, obviously, she refuses to admit this out loud. And this is where, to me, the book in its discussion of parental themes began to, at least match the Lightning Thief and what that was capable of, if not exceed it a little.
Honestly, in my opinion, it kind of exceeded it a little
Yeah.
because it definitely felt a bit more overt.
Mm-hmm. Now, Meg has Apollo open the gates, and Nero plans on burning the Grove of Dodona along with the entirety of Long Island with it. And all of Apollo's kids and the Lost Campers are literally being crucified around the gates, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, and does anybody remember what this bitch loved to do?
Burn down
Fire.
cities. Yay. And profit.
And profit, mostly
They
profit.
mention it
But
directly.
he got a penchant for burning.
They mention it directly, actually.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, uh, but yeah, so here, we see, this is where we get the mention of Zeus saying that not, don't get on the wrong side of my bolts, Apollo, and a bit of his perspective on the
Parentage.
Asclepius incident, basically.
Mhm.
The whole incident of Zeus killing Asclepius for curing death, and Apollo just absolutely going apeshit over it, and just killing the Cyclopses that make the bolts in the first place. I'm sorry, just to check something.
No, no, it's
Yeah.
entirely fine.
And which,
Apollo,
yeah, this becomes the
still
final
pretty good
nail in
dad.
the Zeus abused Apollo coffin for sure. With Apollo explicitly relating to Meg's situation, and this is where the parallels and the ways that they understand each other become kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This book kind of got heavy towards the end. I kind of loved it.
yeah. Anyway, sharp left turn. Apollo was part of the village people, the band. He was the construction worker guy, and he definitely fucked all of them.
In the Navy.
Yup. Anyway, just had to throw that in there.
To balance us back.
Apollo has never met a musician he could not fall in love with. I'm want to put that out there. Anyway, the fire is set. Apollo drags the hostages to relative safety. But it's, the fire is raging too hard. They'll all die anyway. And it's here that the dryads sacrifice themselves to save them, with Zephyros blowing the ashes away, which becomes basically him processing through both of, like, both Daphne and Hyacinthus in that way. Though, okay, maybe we're missing something with the whole Zephyros incident. But Apollo at one point says something like, Zephyros finally forgave me, right? And so, okay, I understand that Apollo wronged Hyacinthus and that he kind of dragged him into this godly bullshit, and he did not take enough responsibility for that in the end of the day. But what did he do against Zephyros? Am I missing something?
Yeah. I vaguely kind of remember that. Basically, Zephyros was also kind of interested in Hyacinthus. Apollo was like, fuck you. And then Zephyros took offense to that.
Yeah, but Zephyros kills Hyacinthus over that. I guess what I'm saying is that it seemed like the whole thing was about Zephyros and Apollo making up, but it's like, isn't, isn't Zephyros kind of the
Zephyros, you're
bad
kind of
guy
in the
in
wrong on
this
this.
situation?
Yeah.
like again, Apollo needs to take some responsibility for that. Zephyros was kind of the bad guy in this situation, though, right? Like, right? Like
Yeah.
in the same way that at the end of the day, Eros was, like, again, Apollo. This,
Also a bit of the
yeah,
bad guy.
yeah. This is, and I hope that the book maybe takes some effort to balance this a bit. But it's like, okay, right, Apollo. A lot of his character
I'm going
development is
to
about not deferring blame, right? But
Yeah,
he
I'm
is
going to be
also
entirely
objectively
honest.
not the
I don't.
antagonist in these situations.
Yeah, I'm going to be entirely honest. I'm going to use a phrase I've used in two books or two book series now. It'd be far more interesting if they turn left, but Rick Riordan will go straight. I know this. I
Yeah,
get that
yeah,
feeling.
yeah. Where this would just be a case where maybe some nuance would be maybe appreciated, right? Like
Mm.
just being able to have the nuance of like, yes, your character needs to stop playing the blame game and needs to actually take responsibility for their own actions and understand the power dynamics of play, and just understand that great power comes great responsibility, yada yada yada. But
Spider-Man,
also,
Spider-Man.
Eros and Zephyros are dicks.
Yes,
We met Eros and Zephyros already. We know they're horrible people.
I miss Stray Gods Arrows.
Stray Gods Eros is such a sweetie. But
He is. And then we have this
Heroes of
bitch
Olympus.
outing Nico.
Yeah, he fucking Eros outing Nico when he was only 3 apples tall.
Recently recovered from death.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I'm curious to see if they explore how they explore that. Chapter 33, right? They venture into the grove, and the voices rage around them. The trust is shaken, but Apollo, still does his best to try and help her here. You know, putting up a wind chime to drown out the voices, and it's sweet. Once again,
Does the
just
best he
like,
can.
yeah, just Apollo showing a bit of rare maturity. And I mean, again, this is Apollo has that dad instinct in him. I don't know what else to say.
Shockingly enough,
He
considering
really
what we've seen of
does.
the other gods, the fact he does have that dad instinct puts him ahead above everyone
The
else.
fact that the bar is so low. The bar is so low. But even if the bar
The
wasn't
bar
so
is so
low, I think
low, it's in. Huh?
even if the bar wasn't so low though, he is just sweet
Still
actually.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bar is so low, it's in Tartarus. Had to
Any
finish the joke.
Anyway, they get a prophecy. At this point, we get the prophecy. It's a limerick this time, which
It's a
is
limerick, the
yeah,
worst type of prophecy, the worst demise.
yeah. So the limerick goes: There once was a god named Apollo, who plunged in a cave blue and hollow. Upon a 3-seater, the bronze fire eater was forced death and madness to swallow. Now we obviously know Festus is probably involved in this. Like
Mm,
just yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It
I'm gonna
seems
be honest,
obvious.
I was genuinely kind of surprised upon reading that. I was just like, oh wait, shit, is Leo gonna be a main character again?
Leo's the main character again. Yeah, Leo and Calypso, they're the party members for book 2 as established at the end of this book, which is lots of fun. I'm looking forward to it very heavily, especially since apparently Calypso and Apollo also have their own godly drama, as that random thing put it. Just everyone has fucking godly drama with each other. I'll bet you almost
Oh,
anything they
especially
were exes. I'll bet you almost anything because that's the theme. That's the theme.
exes and responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, then they ruin it by keeping Cleo. I've seen that Calypso X Leo is a controversial ship. I've seen that.
Is it
It's
now?
not my ship, but I'm curious about I guess I'm curious about why people hate it so much.
I guess we're about to find out.
Yeah, I'm curious
Ooh,
why
that
people
kind of
hate
makes me
it
a
so
bit
much.
nervous.
Um like it doesn't seem that bad to me. I don't like. I mean, it's I even thought it was like kind of. I thought their whole bickering shtick in Blood of Olympus was cute at times.
I feel like
Even if a
one of
bit
two things will
basic.
happen. Yeah, I feel like one of two things will happen. People read too much into the bicker aspect and think it's bad. Or two, Reardon didn't know how to keep it charming and cute, so then it becomes bad. I
Yeah.
guess we'll find out.
Or okay, that random thing one. Um, is it mostly like in age difference discourse or I hope that's not mostly why people okay I totally read his character development. Leo could have had a totally better character if he learned how to keep his self-worth without needing to rely on a relationship. Age difference
Poor baby.
um, I mean, eh. I mean, eh. Um,
We will probably have discourse on that
yeah. Let's
once
wait
it
until
comes
we
to the
actually
future.
have. Let's wait until we actually have them for longer than a chapter interacting with each other. Before we talk about it, I'll say in the realm of fantasy like this, where you're having characters that are allegorically just we just hate single teens. I mean, I don't know. It is kind of funny how
Hold
yeah,
on, I'm trying to think if anyone is
every
single.
single character gets into some kind of relationship at some point. Basically, yeah, like pretty much every major character does. He likes the shipping, I guess.
Fuck, it's even in the Kane Chronicles.
Yeah, pretty much all of them do. It's
Uh,
pretty
wait, wait,
consistent.
wait. Bast. She's not with anyone, right?
I guess. Yeah.
We found a single character out of everyone, and she's also not a teen.
Yeah, he does like his shipping for sure. They shove them into the hunters.
Oh, yeah.
You're not you're not wrong. I don't think I see it as a problem in the same way that you do though. You're not wrong. You're not incorrect.
Wait, I want to continue the joke a little.
Mm,
And if they're not in the Hunters, they're in the Amazons.
the other step. Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't think I see it as a strict problem in the same way that you do, and that like oftentimes in the realm of books for teens,
Romance is a common trope because
yeah,
oftentimes teens are feeling especially romantically desiring.
yeah. It's a pretty common. It's just it kind of just comes with the territory. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? I feel like you're saying that as like an adult coming from the outside here, where it's like I think it's not even exaggeration to say that I think this is just
An
what
issue.
the teens want, you know. Um, it's easy to come as an adult and be like, why is there so much shipping with this? And, but like I think this is just kind of a part of the genre. It's part of what the teen readers what the teen readers kind of what want out of it. I don't know. I don't know. Let the romance exist for its own sake. You're not really gonna see me arguing against that, you know. And I gotta say, out of all the ships that me and Luck were talking about within Heroes of Olympus, um, like we found much more issue with Piper X Jason as far as that goes. That was more the one that
That
we
was more
were
like a
really
sauce
side
thing.
eyeing. It was pretty sauceless, right? Where it was just like very not compelling. Don't you worry about that. I've heard tale of that one crashing and burning. Um within the story. But but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's an author's prerogative. If an author wants to write all their characters getting together, I feel like that's completely their prerogative, right? I don't think that it's fair to say that they have to, right, in the same way that it's not fair to say that a writer has to pair together all their characters at the end. I think it's also not fair to say that they're not allowed to do that, right? Like after a certain point it kind of just starts to feel like you just find teen romance icky, you know? And that's just as weird a way to approach it as the opposite at the end of the day. And also the age difference thing. There is a certain level of allegory you have to start to accept whenever you have like a cast of characters where a good amount of them are gods or traveling through time or all of that. I think it's honestly pretty reasonable and like Calypso is a teenager, right? The way she is written,
Essentially.
the way she is written, the way she is like in the same way that Apollo allegorically through the way he is presented in his maturity levels is a teenager supposed to read as a teenager to anyone who's picking up the book. Calypso is exactly the same. You never get any feeling that she is that she is a grown ass
Adult
adult or
coded.
whatever. Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I'll even go even further and say that I fear that the musical discourse surrounding Calypso, like way infected a lot of Percy Jackson discourse. And one, you have to remember that those two are very different takes on the character. And two, I'm gonna be honest, my opinions on Calypso and Epic the Musical are decently controversial, if I'm being real, in another way. And that I think that there is and look, I think I even mentioned this to you in like some little essay that I'd written at some point, which is that some racism I think infected the way that people approached Calypso in Epic the Musical, and that and it's not right. I think it became another thing of, you know, sexually aggressive black woman character um
Gets
victimizing the
more
poor
hated on
Blorbo.
than
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah.
got severely hated on by the fandom, despite the fact that even the actual source material treated her with more nuance than the fans did a lot of the times. Yeah, I don't know. Calypso is done dirty very frequently, but I don't think she's done dirty particularly. I don't think she's really done dirty in Heroes of Olympus. I think that outside things have kind of infected the discourse surrounding her.
Yeah, I kind of
I
liked her in
Yeah.
Heroes of Olympus.
Yeah, I find really nothing wrong with her, and I find nothing really wrong with the pairing, aside from maybe it comes across as a little rushed, because a lot of things in Heroes of Olympus come across as rushed.
Mhm.
Because despite the fact that they're so fucking long, the books have a focus problem a lot of the times, for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But I find Calypso to be genuinely really charming in these books. And yeah. Okay, continue. Because we're almost done here. We're almost done here.
All
Um
right, so where were we? Meg says, go, Apollo, please listen to him. I don't want the beast to come out. Apollo says, you know, he's just gonna burn this place down, right? No, he's not gonna do that. He said he won't.
and he burns the place
So
down,
then
then
he
the
tries to burn
dryads
down the
sacrifice
place.
themselves, and etc, etc, etc. Brings us back to where we
Yeah,
were currently, which is the limerick, and then Meg flees, and then Apollo finds an arrow that starts talking to him.
Nero says, Apollo,
Yeah.
don't be a
Don't
dumbass.
be a dumbass. Also, nightmare.
Hold
uh
on, real quick, I just
mhm.
kind of want to read out my notes. Meg says, Meg says, wait, you're not actually gonna burn it all, right? Nero says, fuck you, I will, and walks towards a child to burn it.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Also, this is where like Apollo cradles Austin and it's just like, oh, my sweet beautiful boy. And Austin is
Not
like, what the
again.
fuck? What the fuck?
Who are you? And then he's like, don't worry about it. I'm Apollo. Just go
Don't
with it.
worry about it.
I am so confused. Just go with it, sweet baby boy.
Go with
Go
it,
to
my
flee,
sweet prince.
flee, save everyone.
Yeah. So Apollo realizes that well, pretty much it's like Apollo realizes the Colossus Neuronus is involved, and then suddenly the Colossus Neuronus has
Athena.
arrived. It's an 80-foot tall statue of Nero as the sun god, and Apollo fucking hates it. Also, the symbolism has been made as obvious as humanly possible. So
What?
yay, subtleties
The
for
arrogance and
cowards.
hubris of Apollo coming to crush down everything he covers and loves about.
Yeah, you know, subtleties for cowards. Literally, Apollo fighting against an idealized imperial version of himself, having to defeat it. Uh,
Oh, it's such a
yeah.
fun metaphor.
No, a lot of the rest of this is just dumb action scene territory, which we usually don't have many notes for these. They're fun. They're fun. They're well done, but there's not much to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about aside from good. And
Just
yeah.
we could talk about a few things like, oh hey, these characters, this type of interaction. Like for
Mm,
example, Apollo basically was saying like, all right, who do we have to deal with things? We have you. Fuck.
yeah. Also, Percy shows up in like a blaze of glory. And then him and Apollo and Chiron have to all sit down, and Percy gives Apollo the greatest pep talk of all time. Where he says, "You're Apollo. We need you. You can do this. Besides, if you don't, I will personally throw you off the top of the Empire State Building." This was exactly the pep talk I needed. Just the sort of things Zeus used to say to me before my soccer matches. It's like, oh god, Apollo, are you okay? No, you're not. Why did I ask? No,
No,
you're not.
not at all.
Obviously not. And yeah, Apollo makes a 1 in a million shot with a plague arrow, and the statue literally sneezes its head
Zephyros
off.
helped.
Zephyros helped.
Yeah.
Now, Apollo knows what he has to do next. Yeah, the next book is all about the
Mhm.
Oracle of Trophonius, supposedly. Uh, and Leo arrives, and basically from here on out, it's all just set up for the next book, as well as all of what we discussed already. Which I assume we're gonna continue to have controversial talks about Calypso, because I think both of us are a lot softer on her than what is the general fandom opinion from what I've
Yeah.
noticed. But I not that I think even most
Hold
fans
on.
hate her. I think that there's just I think it's just a
Uh,
certain minority.
yeah. Before we start wrapping up, I do want to bring this up as the closest thing we have to Mexican rep on this channel.
Mhm.
Um, Rick, Rick. Why did you make Leo say piece of torta? Why? Are you doing the thing
No.
where people think biracial or multilingual people just like mix and match the different language words together into incoherent sentences?
Yeah, it's not
Is that what you're doing,
it's not I
Rick?
mean it'd be what it's not really a phrase that's used in Chicano English. Be
No,
a thing that's
no,
a thing you can just look up, Rick. Like Rick.
Rick. Like
Rick,
I
come
forgave you.
on.
I turned a blind eye at the taco stuff. Uh,
Rick, come
Rick,
on.
Rick,
Rick.
Rick.
Rick, come on. Leo's like one of your best characters. Don't do this to
Come
us.
on, don't
Don't do
sour
this
him.
to
He was the
us.
best thing I had in the Heroes of
Yeah,
Olympus.
yeah. Oh wait, that random thing one. I know. I mean, Leo definitely does speak Spanish. Is the thing? It's just or no,
It's
no,
not
Spanglish,
Spanglish.
Spanglish.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah. It's not
Spanglish.
Spanglish is the thing. And the issue isn't even that he uses too much Spanglish. The issue is that he doesn't use it well. The issue is that it's like a white person's approximation of Spanglish slash Chicano English.
It is.
Like it's yeah.
Rick is a white
That is
man.
not a
We
saying that
discussed
everyone
this
is
back in
and
the Kane
that is not a saying
Chronicles.
that anyone has ever said in their fucking lives. You know, that becomes more the issue. It's like his best approximation of what it is, and it's
It
bad. It's
fails. It
bad. It
totally does.
totally
Random
fails.
thing.
Yeah,
It does. It's so
to
bad.
the point where you may have actually preferred it if he just didn't speak Spanish ever.
That's Yeah, like I said, I turned a blind eye
Or if it
at
was just a
the multiple
background
taco
thing.
jokes he had. Like
Yeah,
I was able to turn a blind eye, but damn it, Rick, you're starting to get into annoying territory.
yeah,
Yeah, you're on thin
yeah.
ice, Rick.
You're on thin
You've
ice.
earned my goodwill. You've earned my goodwill, but you're on thin ice, Rick.
I've seen people accuse these books, especially the Trials of Apollo books, of being particularly bad with the legacy characterization. And like I I don't see it with Percy, right? With Percy, I think it's actually pretty good. It's pretty funny and pretty consistent with what we know about him, right? Like Percy just doesn't fuck with gods, right? He no wonder
Yeah,
yes he does yes he hates Apollo. Like it's because
he
he's
doesn't
yeah.
trust him,
He doesn't trust him. He's not one of his. Um
and plus he's also like really
mm.
worried he's gonna get the questions. Like I gotta do character development for me.
Will and Nico have continued to be really cute, but I do worry a little bit for Leo, right? Just because I'm a part of me wants to be like, well, all these other characters have been fine. I'm sure people were just complaining for nothing, right? People always hate the new thing. Um, but I do have the fear in me every once in a while, right? I'm
Mhm.
going forth with some caution.
Yeah,
So,
as for me, separated from fandom stuff, basically, I get most fandom talk stuff from you.
mm,
So, like, I'm not quite as apprehensive because I don't know how bad I should be apprehensive.
there's discourse about these books, right? Because pretty much every book beyond just the first original series, right, has discourse about it, as fandoms tend to do. And my instinct is to not take any of it too seriously, because fandom instinct is to hate the new thing. Like, that's just what it is. But I also know for a fact that you and I had some issues with Heroes of Olympus at times. Generally, we
Yeah,
found them to be
I
pretty
wouldn't say
enjoyable,
they're. Yeah,
but they had some major stumbles for sure. Um, but I've seen people talk about the Trials of Apollo books as if they just hate them. And they will mention stuff like the Leo Calypso stuff, or like Apollo being a horrible character, or any of those things. And I'm currently at a point where, because we're still so early on, I'm not sure how seriously to take any of that, because we liked Leo and Calypso in the last book. We
yeah, I think they're
Yeah,
cute.
we like Apollo as a character in this one. And so yeah, it just kind of has me sitting there wondering, like, I do wonder how this is gonna go, right? I tend to not take too much stock into fandom opinions, because I know how I know how these things work. I'm thinking about this a lot too, because of my whole Voltron analysis that's coming up, right? That was one where it's like the end happened and the fans fucking hated it, right? But
Yeah.
so much of fandom expectations, and like so much of why fans hated it was because of fandom expectations getting in the way of the actual story. And this is something that happens time and time again, right? It happened again with Amazing Digital Circus, right? Some people accepted the ending just fine, but then you also had plenty of people who, no matter how that ending went, they would have had a problem with it, right? Like, there was always going to be messy discourse about it, regardless of the actual quality of the thing. This is why I tend to not take this discourse all that seriously, because it keeps on fucking happening the exact same way.
Mhm. Funny enough, I've actually been seeing a push of people saying how, you know, how we have said, like, we didn't need to focus on certain things because that's not what the story was supposed to be about. Well, apparently that started to become a common sentiment, and now there is a reaction to it. So, yay. Again, I'm not deep in the fandom stuff. It's just I've seen small things pop up here and
Yeah,
there.
but yeah, the
So,
fact is, this stuff. There's always cycles to this stuff, right? Where it's like,
there is.
yeah,
People
and
just want FNAF.
people just want FNAF. People just want their own little, um,
Lore,
yeah,
deep thinking makes them feel more introspective and deep than what really is going on.
but they just want to project all their own ideas of what the story is onto it, without having any actual story getting in the way of any of it. But yeah, so you know and also just with something like Charles of Apollo as well, right? That's also a case of, like, let's say you grow up with the Lightning Thief books, and let's say, unlike me, you actually do keep up with it, because, right, me, I dipped out at Kane Chronicles. I realized at that point that I was too old for these books, and I stopped reading them. um but if you are one of those that did continue with them, and you are now putting the expectations of an older reader onto these books for much younger kids, that can also sometimes cause some disconnect. Where it's not so much that the books went downhill, so much as it is that you are no longer viewing this stuff with clear eyes, because your ideas of what a good book is have risen. What a good story is has risen, but you are still reading these same books. You know, that's why I said
Yeah,
we try
and
we
as for
try and
me,
we
I'm
try and approach these, just we're reading these completely as adult readers. We're trying to just take them for what they are as much as possible.
yeah, and as for me, I'm like also going into this like pretty blind. Like basically all the points I was familiar with, we've long since passed.
Yeah.
So like everything is just like brand new to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there are things that there are things like the race thing that I think is completely fucking fair to criticize Rick for. And Rick is one of those guys, from what I understand, that is like generally has pretty all right politics, but the second that he actually opens his mouth about anything, people mostly just want him to shut the fuck up again. He generally has good opinions. He's generally an anti bigotry guy. He's been good about including representation in these books, but he's bad on specifics, and he clearly has led he probably clearly led a like a relatively sheltered life. He's an older guy who's a little bit stuck in his ways. Um, he is not perfect, and as an individual is not all that worth digging into, right? Whether for good or for bad. Um, but yeah, some of this other stuff though that people put on these books, I look at it and I'm like, well, it's a little unfair. Yeah, like as much as I hate being the person to say that, like, well, it's just for kids, it doesn't have to be smart. It's like, no. I do genuinely think that there was a bit of a thematic decline as far as these books go, right? But that thematic decline happened in the original 5 books, right? The Lightning Thief was this promising, interesting concept, and then it proceeds to do nothing with most of those concepts for the rest of the series.
Mm.
Wait,
Yeah,
yeah.
in a way, it kind of feels a bit more. How best to phrase it? Going back to what you said of thematic decline, it leans more about the character interactions and your care of the
Mm-hmm.
characters being primary pushes for things.
Mm-hmm. Which is why after a while, this is where we do have to start kind of tempering our expectations as far as these books go. Which is why this book is still, we're taking what we can get here. Which is why we still view this book. I feel like we got so deep into this weird media literacy comment talk here, when really at the end of the day, I just want to say this is a really enjoyable book, and I'm glad we read it, and I'm having a good time with it, and I'm being cautiously optimistic about the rest of it, but also I'm generally not that concerned with whatever fandom discourse has about it, because I already have reason to believe that they aren't talking about anything worth getting into. Yeah? Like, holy shit, do I not? I don't even. Whenever there's like a whole like fantasy age gap discourse, I want to die. I want to die. Right? I want to fucking die.
What a great way to sum that up.
Yeah. Right? Actually no. I will talk about fantasy age gap discourse, because like it's always a fucking mess, right? Because like you have a story with fantasy characters with fantasy ages. There's no one IRL that has been or ever will be well over 2000 years old, right? Right? So
Yeah.
the idea is that if they aren't literally 2000 years old, what age are we supposed to take them as in the story? How do they act? How are we perceiving them, right? This is art, right? It's not literal, right?
Mhm.
How do
Yes.
we as readers perceive these characters?
Funny little guy.
Funny little guy. Calypso just comes across as a teenager. Genuinely, she just comes across as a teenager with teenage crushes and with teenage issues, and she's exploring the world for the first time with their teenage boyfriend, and it's like she's literally made a mortal as a teenager. It's like I cannot see how you could take it any other way outside of trying to intentionally be uncharitable. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I guess if you're that kind of person where it's just like, if there's ever anything suspect about the fantasy ages whatsoever, that just really, if you're someone who just thinks that like characters with fantasy ages just shouldn't date at all whatsoever, outside like other fantasy creatures, it's like, sure, yeah, I guess more power to you, I suppose, but couldn't be me. I don't know. Like I'll see like the opposite, right? With like, okay, so you have the character Venti from Genshin Impact. Are you aware of this character?
Femboy.
Yeah. Like it's like a ancient god, who looks like a teenager, but who actually for the most part acts like an adult, right? Like he works as a bard. He drinks like a fucking sailor. He like he acts like a grown ass man, right? So people often
Yeah.
ship him with Zhang Li, who is another god, and people will have issues with that one because Venti looks young, right? Even though they are in fact the same age in this case, they are in fact operating at about the same level of maturity as far as the way they act and the
Mhm.
way they function in the world. And that to me is another case of like you have these like one, it's just very easy to just draw fan art of Venti where he just looks aged up. That it's the easiest fucking thing in the world, like he's drinking at those bars somehow. Like forget the anime twink abstraction. He's drinking at those bars somehow.
The power of
Yeah.
booze
Yeah.
defeats all.
Yeah, and it also becomes a thing where it's like, where's the line for this, right? Like, is it weird to ship Legolas and Gimli because Legolas is like 2,000 years old, but Gimli is only 500, right? Like where do you draw the line of this? And this is where you just have to just sit back and just say, like, hey, this is art, this is not reality. Um, it has to do with abstract interpretation of these characters.
Yeah.
It is
What
best
was
not
the
to get hung up
phrase?
on
You
this.
know it when you see it.
Yeah, it is best not to get hung up on this, and best not to, yeah, best to just leave it be. If it gives you the ick personally, I can't exactly I can't exactly stop you, but
I can. I have the power of everything.
I would caution you before you make a moral judgment about it, is what I'm saying. So yeah.
What a fun notes to leave off on.
Yeah, this isn't about
The
this is not a book about Calypso and Leo or in exactly one chapter of this book. I want to talk about my
watch
sweet
as our
sweet baby boy Apollo.
yeah. Watch as our opinions turn like 180 in the next book because
Oh, if the
Riordan
ship is
fucked it
written
up.
badly, then we're gonna rip it a fucking new
Oh,
asshole.
we have the legal
We have the
just
we have the
right to
legal
do
just right to
so.
rip it a new asshole if it's written badly.
Absolutely.
But from what we've seen so far, it's fine. You know. So yeah. But and anyway, I think that like fantasy age discourse is just an interesting thing to talk about. And I don't know the next time we'll get the opportunity to talk about it because I don't want that to color our future perception or critique of this ship. Unless
Mhm.
unless the unless the book intentionally draws attention to it. Or Calypso's characterization changes somehow to where she reads as more adult, I see no reason to bring this up again.
You know what? Entirely fair.
Yeah.
I just Riordan. Don't be cheeky with the jokes, please.
Reardon, hold back on the cheek, hold back on the Spanish stuff. You're getting a little, you're punching a little above your
You're
weight
kidding on thin
class
ice.
here. You're getting on thin fucking
Hmm.
ice. Insert third uh, phrase here.
Well
Um.
then, is that all we have to say for this?
Yeah, a 7 out of 10.
Eh,
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
good.
fair.
It's like good. It's
Yeah.
I'm glad I read this.
Well
This
then,
is despite the fact that we end on such a weird note, I like this way better than any of the Trials of Olymp and than any of the Heroes of Olympus books. Um,
Trials of
Trials
Olympus.
of I like this more than any of the Heroes of Olympus books, and like find Apollo more personally charming than Magnus Chase, even though maybe I think that was a better book.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, valid.
So we can end up though here. I'm highly looking forward to book 2. So goddamn much. But first we actually have to do the Hammer of Thor first. That comes next. That'll be our, let me check the calendar real quick before we head out. That will be the okay, that works
The
out.
7th?
That'll be the 7th of August.
Yeah.
Hammer of Thor, 7th of August. Um get and of course tomorrow is 4th of July. It's 4th of July weekend, so we're gonna have to figure out when we're gonna do our Marvel Mondays watching for probably on Sunday. We'll do the Discord watch
True.
party as we
Wait, I
do.
already told you I'm gonna be occupied tomorrow, didn't I?
Well, yeah, everyone's gonna be occupied tomorrow. You're not
Okay, okay,
special.
okay. I'm just trying to make sure I did my due
Mm.
diligence.
I assumed everyone would be. I wasn't gonna bother asking.
Oh, okay, okay. Well then, shall I sign us out?
Yeah, yeah, you're eager to go, so I'll let you go.
Well, lurkers, chatters, here for a little, here for a while. I thank you all the same. This is Luck, bowing off. And remember, everyone, lucky days.
And 3, 2, 1. Good
Good
night.
night.